Welcome back. We're about to head into our first derby of the season, but first, let me get you up to speed. We went to Athens for the first leg of our Greek Cup matchup against Calathea. It required a neat training ground corner routine to find the breakthrough early in the second half, but once we scored, the floodgates opened. Samatta's effort was deflected in for an own goal, before he eventually added one himself in the 83rd minute. The return leg is a month away, but we're in a good position. Thomas Merg wants more playing time. I said no. He said okay. Even Nasberg wants more playing time. I said no. He said okay. Brandon Thomas wants more playing time. I said f*** off. A trip to league leaders Atromitus next, and a less than ideal start. Ubatana slotting home from close range after good work from Kechrida. But Marcos Antonio saved the day with an absolute worldie from the edge of the area that deservedly won goal of the week. Into the Conference League and an easy home win over Rakov Czestochowa. Zivkovic, Samatta and Konstantelios took turns scoring and assisting one another as we raced out to a massive first half lead. Samatta's dink over the keeper after Zivkovic's volleyed assist might be my favourite goal to date. In the second half, we took our foot off the gas, saving ourselves for the upcoming home game against bottom of the league Panetolikos. It's the kind of game you expect to go hideously wrong, but goals from Rahman, Kouliarakis and Tyson secured the win before an international break. Luratsis wants a new contract. I've told him to wait. With real world mode and the first transfer window disabled, this means we have no money. Or, more accurately, we are €30,000 per week over our wage budget. I've also discovered a slight boo-boo. It appears we have no players registered for our B team. I'm going to assume that's an error on my part rather than a bug, but that does mean we're facing relegation from the Super League too. Oops. That brings us up to date, as we head into the derby against Aris. The fans unsurprisingly expect a win, as do I. Now this is what I consider a proper derby, historically divided along class lines. PAOK, founded by refugees from Constantinople in the wake of the Greco-Turkish War, and Aris, representing the established Thessalonican locals. Both teams have won the Greek League 3 times, although Aris' last championship was 77 years ago. PAOK have had the better of things in recent years, having finished ahead of Aris each of the last 15 seasons. We expect to come out on top, but that shouldn't mean we can't celebrate those achievements. And that's what I want to talk about. Achievements. Achievements and Idi Amin, or to give his full title, His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji, Dr. Idi Amin Dada, VC, DSO, MC, CBE, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general and Uganda in particular. This might be one of the more left field tangents I go on, so I can only apologise, and I should also qualify that nothing I say from here on, in any way, condones the atrocities committed by Idi Amin. At the start of this career, I established that our approach would be somewhat dictatorial, and so that got me thinking about how we could set goals and qualify achievements as the save progresses. That led me to Idi Amin and his self-bestowed titles. For those that don't know, Idi Amin was the third president of Uganda, a position he attained via a military coup in 1971. In 1976, he was declared President for Life. In 1979, he was deposed. He was an eccentric character who, like many other dictators, had a fondness for grandiose and often fake titles. He claimed to be the King of Scotland, awarded himself a CBE, that stands for Conqueror of the British Empire, and during his exile in Saudi Arabia became known as Dr. Jaffa. So what does this all have to do with FM? and this derby specifically? Well, I'm keen to mark achievements by garnishing Yanis Mustermann's name with increasingly ridiculous titles. Let's say we complete the double over Aris, which is looking rather unlikely. As they are named after the god of war Aris, then we would become known as God King Yanis Mustermann. Finish above them in the league, and we are God King Yanis Mustermann, Conqueror of Thessaloniki. Win the league, and we are the God King Yanis Mustermann, Conqueror of the Hellenic Federation in general, and Thessaloniki in particular. And so on. I need to put to paper some specific achievements and some ridiculous titles to go along with them. Maybe even design some decorative medals. Please let me know any suggestions. Of course, I am getting ahead of myself here. We need to actually achieve something first, and this game has been nothing short of disappointing. A draw is perhaps a fair result, even if I feel we had the better chances. We might still be undefeated, but this is yet more points dropped. In fact, this is now our 4th draw in 7 away games so far. That result sees us drop to 3rd. We've actually closed the gap on Atromitus to 1 point, but AEK have racked up 9 successive league wins since we defeated them in September, and now hold a 2-point lead at the top. We do have one more game to round out November, a Conference League trip to Ukraine against Dynamo Kiev. This has been an episode of wonder goals, but sadly Canis' opening volley has been given as an own goal for reasons I still can't fathom. Koval equalised shortly after, but Viorina was on hand to restore the lead 4 minutes later, before then exiting the game with a twisted ankle. Canis eventually got his goal, and a 3-1 win means we've secured top spot in the group, and booked our place into the round of 16. Viorina will be out for at least a month, and the timing is less than ideal. We play 6 games in 17 days, ahead of a short Christmas break. The game against Rapid Wien is a dead rubber, so we should hopefully be able to rest some players before the big trip to Athens against AEK. See you then.